Hey guys, happy weekend. I know it's Friday night, but get this. I was at cheer camp today. Fun fact, I used to be a cheer coach. I don't coach anymore, but some of my girls still cheer, so that's where I was today. And why the video is late, I apologize. But today, it's going to be a shorter video. That's what I think, shorter. Okay. We're gonna focus on 4 people from our reading, not 4 people, 4 types of people from our reading at the end. I'm going to give you one. Oh, wait. If it's a question and encouragement, it can really only be one. It's an encouragement. I'm going to give you an E at the end, and you can take it or leave it. You only have the one to choose from, so you're going to either choose to do it or not. Okay. 4 types of people in our reading. Number 1, the undevoted. This would be people like Ahab, Ahaziah, Joram, and Jehoram. Now, these guys just happen to be super evil, especially Ahab. Good night. Yikes. However, the people around us who are not devoted to God are probably not going to look like these kings who are just egregiously evil. The people around us who are undevoted, they're not bad people. They're lovely people. I have friends and family who I love dearly who are not committed to the Lord. It doesn't make them bad people. What's interesting about what we read was that God still talked to those people. Did you notice that he was still talking to Ahab? And Ahab heard him. Now, he didn't listen, but he heard him. And God kept saying things like, I'm going to do this, then you will know that I am the Lord. He was still talking to Ahab. Great reminder for us that no matter who it is around us, that we think, oh my gosh, this person is never going to accept Christ. Don't give up on them. If God is talking to King Ahab, the most evil king ever, well then, we don't need to give up on the people in our lives either. Keep talking to them if they're open to it. Keep loving on them with no strings attached and keep praying for them. Second type of person, the mostly devoted. Here I'm talking about King Jehoshaphat. It's so fun to say, Jehoshaphat. Now, he was really committed to the Lord. He really was. So what I mean really by mostly devoted is that he was imperfect. And so he followed the Lord. He led his people to follow the Lord, but he made 2 mistakes that really had some pretty grave consequences. Number 1, he didn't tear down all the altars of the false gods. And at the end, the summation of his reign, it says that him not doing that caused his people to not fully commit to the Lord. So that's yikes. And then the second thing is he made peace with King Israel, the king of Israel, so much so that he let his son marry one of Ahab's daughters. So from that son became pretty evil. And I believe it was probably the influence of that family. And I don't know that for sure, but that's what I'm thinking. And so he was totally devoted to the Lord. Totally devoted to the Lord. But he was imperfect. And you know what? God used him anyway. So just a reminder, you're going to be imperfect. And God's going to use you anyway. And that's a lesson to myself too. Like, Missy, you're going to mess up. But his heart was for God. And didn't you love when he was going to war with Moab, Ammon, and Edom? And as soon as they started singing praise, this is on page 719, as soon as they started to sing a praise, then the other armies started attacking each other, and then Judah got the victory. It was because of that praise, and it just was, that was my light bulb moment this week of the praise. Them praising God is what moved God to fight for them. And sometimes we forget to worship and we forget to praise, or we don't feel like it, but there's so much power in it. And it was the catalyst for God to move and gain their victory. So great reminder for us to continue to praise, even when we don't want to. Turn on a worship song, get over ourselves, and just worship. All right, number 3, the radically devoted. That would be Elisha and Elijah. They did and said whatever God wanted them to do and say, however and whenever he wanted them to do it. And because of that, they had a closeness with God, this conversational. God would tell them to do something and they would do it. They would ask God and God would tell them. And so they were super powerful and super effective, radically devoted. The number 4, this one I thought was really cool, is the transitioning person. And so if we look on 707, it's the people at Mount Carmel. Remember when Elijah had the showdown with the prophets Baal and the whole altar with the water and the fire and then okay. Here's the cool thing, is that there were people watching that whole thing that weren't the prophets. And what was going on is that Elijah challenged their faith. And he said, let's just read it. Let's just read it. Let me find it because I wasn't planning on reading it. All right. I'm in 1 Kings 18:20. So Ahab summoned all the people of Israel and the prophets to Mount Carmel. Then Elijah stood in front of them and said, "How much longer will you waver, hobbling between two opinions? If the Lord is God, follow him. But if Baal is God, then follow him." But the people were completely silent. So their faith was challenged. Like, who are you going to believe? And their response was, wait a minute, I don't know. So something happened in their life where they became a little bit confused. I don't know what to believe. So they were silent. Then Elijah says, okay, this is what we're going to do. You put some stuff on your altar and call down Baal, and I'll put some stuff on my altar and I'll call down God, and we'll see who comes through. And the people responded by agreeing. So they were like, okay, let's figure it out. So they were silent when they were challenged, but then they decided, I'm gonna see what happens here. And they agreed to that. Then they watched this whole thing that went on. They watched, and they were open to whatever. They were open to, okay, if Baal is God, we're gonna follow him. If Jehovah is God, we're gonna follow him. They were open. And then the fourth thing is, when God came down and showed himself and he completely awed everybody, then the people fell down and worshiped. So they transitioned from maybe not doubtful, but they transitioned to, I don't really know, to, man, he is God, he's the one and only God. And then they got rid of the prophets because God told them to. Completely transitioning. So those are the 4 types of people. So right now you're going, okay, so now she's going to tell us to pick which one we are. No, I'm not. This is what I'm going to tell you. I feel like we are all of these people at different parts in our lives, different seasons in our lives. Sometimes in the same day. Like, you might be thinking, man, I love God so much, I'm going to do whatever he says, whenever he says it, and then something happens and you're like, yikes, I don't really know. But here's the cool thing that I want us to remember. God was present in with every single type of person. So just a reminder, as you go into your weekend, no matter where you are in your walk with Christ, he does not abandon. He does not give up on you. He doesn't throw in the towel and say, well, you really screwed it up this time, so good luck. He keeps calling out to you. And you may be hearing that voice tonight. And he's trying to tell you, I still love you. I'm with you. You have questions? Cool. Let's talk about them. I don't know if he actually says cool. Let's talk about them. Let me talk to you. I still love you. He is not abandoning you. However, he does get really quiet if you turn away from him and turn away from him and turn away from him and turn away from him. And that can be a scary place. We don't want to stay there. So we need to make sure that we are facing towards him no matter what. Facing towards him and being open no matter where we are and what type of person we are today. So your E for tonight, your encouragement, is 3 steps, but you got to do them all. Number 1, identify which one of these people you are right this moment in your life. And it could change tomorrow morning. Number 2, thank God for meeting you in the middle of that place because he's there. And number 3, ask him to help you respond to his voice in full radical obedience. And if you're in rebellion, to pull you out. That's it. Easy. All right. I love you guys. It was, under 10 minutes. I did it. It wasn't too much shorter, but at least I made it under 10 minutes. Okay. Y'all have a great weekend, and I will talk to y'all on Monday. Bye.